thank you, Lisa. Thank you for those kind remarks. It's great to be with you today. I mean, what an exciting time you all have had. I have enjoyed looking at the agenda and all the topics you've covered and all that you've been doing. Lisa, thank you for your leadership of this organization. And that was a fabulous video for us to be able to take in and look at the time and look at the effort and the dedication throughout those 45 years. Alex certainly is a very tremendous organization and very good, conservative, strong governmental practices. Right here talked about it. I thought it was so good when she talked about the laboratories of democracy, no question, is what happens in this room and in this organization. But you are truly the research institute because of the collaboration, the ideas that are brought in, the best practices, what you share, and then how you go back and adapt it in your states back at home. So I will say to each of you, thank you for participating. Thank you for being a part of this organization. Thank you for making it such a great organization, because by you being here, being a part, learning, and going back, you strengthen each of our states. So I have an exciting opportunity I want to visit with you all about, and you will think this is a little interesting, particularly on how it's going to affect your state. So if I said to you, there is $24 billion out there to be used for an economic stimulus across our country. My, what would you think? Pretty sure you'd have some questions that the federal government's holding $24 billion of our money, and you'd probably demand some answers, right? $24 billion is certainly an economic stimulus, and certainly in our states, we need all the dollars we can coming back to strengthen our states. But that's exactly what's happening right now. There's a U.S. Treasury rule written by the Obama administration, and that's exactly the case right now. The money is there. The money needs to be utilized by our citizens across our states. The money needs to be put back into the economy, and we are ready to do that as states. We have the opportunity, and we know this can make a tremendous impact throughout our states. So what in the world is that $24 billion that belongs to all of us? Well, I'll tell you, it's the matured but unredeemed U.S. savings bonds. So think about that for a minute, U.S. savings bond. So if I ask you right now in this room, how many of you have U.S. savings bonds? Probably somebody gave them to you. You have any idea where they are? Most people don't. If you do, congratulations. Because normally when I talk to groups, they have no idea, but you know, maybe your grandparent or someone gave it to your child, but you have no idea because they've been forgotten. They might be in a lockbox, or maybe the person is deceased and never passed along to the heirs. So that's what we have right now. And the federal government is not prepared. They don't have a mechanism to return it to us, to the states, but we do. In our states, we all have unclaimed property programs. And it's important that we use that, we take control of that and ownership, and we get those dollars back. So just to kind of give you a little snapshot on how critical this money is and how much we all do in our states, I pulled 2015 numbers. And in that FY, we received as states collaboratively about $7.8 billion of unclaimed property. And then collectively as states, we distributed that year $3.2 billion. Now that's significant. Going back into our daily economy. In the state of Mississippi, you wouldn't think, well, we might not have so much that we can have and distribute, but I've been in office for 7 years. We just hit $91 million given back to people across the state of Mississippi. That's a big number. That's a big driver. That helps the economy, and it helps businesses. It's just a win-win all the way around. So we've been able to distribute over 57% of the entire fund since I've been in office. But we believe in that because we know that the rightful owners deserve their monies, and we're there and prepared to do that. We do have the mechanism to make that happen, as many of you do. So how have we done that? How have we been able to get $91 million back out across the state of Mississippi? Partnerships. Partnerships, and you all know exactly, you do it very well and best too. Partnerships. We partner with organizations, with our legislators, with our mayors, our supervisors, our Rotary clubs, any other groups, and we get the word out. And we have different unclaimed property events. We bring the notaries, we bring our staff, and we help move those monies out. Got some of my friends that are legislators here today from Mississippi, and one of the things that we try to do for them every year when they come back into session, we give them a jump drive of their district, of all the unclaimed property participants so that maybe they can reach out and get those monies. But they're always such a great partner as we collaboratively work to do that. So let me just tell you a little bit how that rule worked, and let me give you the status of the case where we are right now. In 2015, there was a rule that's in place that had been in place for a long time called the escheatment decision rule, and it was done by the U.S. Treasury. And so here's what that law said, or that rule. It said if a state had a law allowing title-based escheatments of the savings bonds, then the state had secured legal ownership to the bonds, and the federal government would honor the law. 21 states that you all represent have those laws on the books right now. So you are entitled to those dollars right away. However, the Obama Treasury thought better of that because they knew we deserved the money and would get it back into the states and then get it out to the people that were the rightful owners. So at that point, they decided they would rewrite the rule, and they did. And in that rule, it said they would no longer honor this long-standing rule that the U.S. Treasury had, so they reversed it. And what they said is, we're going to clarify that rule. In other words, we're not going to allow you to get those dollars. And now the federal government would only allow us to get those U.S. savings bonds if, one, we had physical possession. The majority of people do not have physical possession. And then it was going to be in the discretion of the U.S. Treasury. Well, those are pretty hard denominators to meet based on this clarification of the rules. And then many, many times, if you think about it, these are either lost savings bonds, they could be sitting in these lock boxes, and so how could we do that? So interesting enough, you know, the government, the federal government has that. They have the information. They have the last known addresses, they have the names, and yet they won't turn it over to us as a state. So 10 states, including my state, and I'm one of the plaintiffs in this, we are going to court. We've asked the U.S. Treasury to give us those names, give us those state bonds, and let us get it back to the people across our state. Every time we're in U.S. Federal Claims Court right now, they have ruled in favor of the states every time. But the federal government has just relents. They refuse to comply. So you think about this now from a state level. 10 of us are already in this court, this battle. The federal government is appealing us along the way. We're set up for another appeal in February to go back and have this conversation. So now we need to wrap together and talk about what are the issues and how we can get the U.S. Treasury to work with us and not against us. Yesterday I had the pleasure of speaking to some of you all and just giving you a little bit of some information. I don't have all your states, but I'll give out a few. And if you would like to visit with me afterwards, I'll tell you the ones that I know. But Kansas was one of the initial drivers of this lawsuit. And they're estimated to gain $209 million. Mississippi, we're looking to gain about $215 million. Ohio's about $837 million. If you're in Florida, you've got about $1.4 billion waiting on you. Tennessee is about $480 million. Georgia, $745 million. North Carolina, $735 million. New Hampshire, $96 million, and Wisconsin, $415 million, and there are many, many more. So you've got some money out there, right? And so it's time for us to rally together. I will tell you that it's been such an honor as the treasurer to really pursue this on behalf of the people across my state. I'm running for Attorney General next year, and I will be the first Republican Attorney General we've ever had in the state of Mississippi. So I look to continue this lawsuit and on behalf of the people across the state and across our country. So my ask of you today is, now that I've told you and you understand what's at stake for all of us, and how important it is, that a couple of things, that as ALEC members, you will look at this and maybe make a formal resolution. I have some handouts where if you're the legislature, that you are willing to maybe write a letter to Secretary Mnuchin and ask that this Obama rule be reversed and put back in place. There's also a resolution for legislators to bring forward too. We've already had 20 U.S. senators write to Secretary Mnuchin. I think it will get done, but I think we only do it as a collaboration because we all have a vested interest in it. And many of I've talked to you had no idea. So I'm so appreciative to have the opportunity to share this information. I look forward to us partnering together to get all these $24 billion back into our economy for the betterment of our states and across our country. So thank you for allowing me to share this with you, and I hope you have a great rest of the afternoon and safe travels back to each of your respective states. May God bless you.